Hello everyone. Today's poem is Bei Bei Wind from the Book of Songs. This poem is the content, the meaning is quite straightforward and quite clear through the long Chinese history, so there's no much argument about this poem. It's a condolence poem to the passed away mother, the only one dedicated to the passed away mother. So there's someone will argue about there's some other poems is the condolence song to mother, but anyhow, it's not very clear because in most of the condolence songs in the Book of Songs is dedicated to the Lord, to a gentleman, and unless there is a very, very clear indication in the poem, the poem is for the mother, for a female. Even though let's say, as a state lord, he looks like the biggest power in this state, but anyhow, the wife of the state lord, actually she shares a significant power from the state lord. Let's say, in his big house, the wife is the dominant power, the things within a family, while the state lord will be the dominant power outside of his own home, which means he will be very focused on the state affairs rather than his family affairs, because his wife take care of them. So the term is, let's see, a state lord normally was so-called as 君子, and the wife of the state lord would be called as 小君, and especially in some of the ceremonies, we can see that the level and the power is quite similar, and they are standing on the same social levels, not like the later generations that the female is sort of the lower, with a lower position compared to the man. In some other poems, both the mother and father was mentioned in a condolence poem, like the 大雅思齐. He mentioned several queens who passed away, and this is a condolence song. And in a very famous 小雅廖娥, so he mentioned both father and mother. There is another quite interesting coincidence in another poem, 曹风施救. It's also a condolence song, most probably to a gentleman, to a lord. The coincidence is, in that poem, the seven sons expressed their condolence to their passed away father or mother. And in this song we have today, 凯风, it's also the seven sons express their condolence to their passed away mother. So in this song is quite clear. It's a condolence song for the mother. And let's see. Now let's go through this poem briefly. 凯风自南，吹彼棘心. The warm wind is blowing from the south, and it blowing into the heart of the sour jujube bushes. The sour jujube bushes is a kind of bush, very, very common bush in this area, with a lot of the stick. But anyhow, it's very likely used, it's a long character as ji. Ji is hurt, so which means the warm wind was coming from south. So in the general idea is a pleasant spring wind from the south. But anyhow, the wind hurt the heart. The heart of whom? The heart of the poet and some other people. 吹彼彼 those. So it's a group of people, not the poet himself. It's a group of people. So it's a contrast. It's a very typical writing skills. Use the pleasant, warm south wind in the spring to compare the heart, the hurting heart. It's a very sad heart. And of course, we know it's a condolence poem. And let's continue and see. 棘心夭夭，母氏劬劳. So this sentence tells us why the heart hurts. So the heart hurt and is waving because mother was so he works so hard and he had such a busy hard life. Okay, the second paragraph. 凯风自南，吹彼棘心. So it changed the last character, right? But actually, it's telling the same things. The warm south wind was blowing into the heart of the sour jujube trees, which hurt, which is a metaphor that the warm, pleasant wind hurt the hearts of all those people, right? Okay, the next sentence. 母氏圣善，我无令人. Our mother was so nice and she managed everything great. He does all the things great. At the very beginning, we shared as a wife of a state lord or as a wife of a big family, the noble family, right? The mother was responsible for so many things. All the things within this big house, right? The household, to brought up the children, and to prepare and to take part, join in the ceremonies, the sacrifices. So the wife is almost similar equivalent importance with the lord or with the master of this big family. So the character 圣 basically means the lord, the master, was managing everything in a wise way. And the 善 means very, very good. So the second paragraph basically is telling us the mother was so wise. he managed the big family, the big house so well, and everybody was so grateful for her, uh, for her work, for her duty to this big family. 我无令人, the modern sequence of this sentence should be 无我令人. So it tells us why the mother managed the big family so well. Just imagine, in those days, in a state law's house or in a big royal family, there are some hundreds, thousands people in this big house, in this big family. The mother should manage the assets, should manage all the household very well and let everybody feel satisfied. It's such a hard job, right? Hundreds of people in a big family, but still everybody has his own interest. Everybody has own concerns. So as the big boss of this family, you should balance hundreds of private interests and satisfy them all. It's a sort of the mission impossible, right? It's just like a politician want to please every people in his county. Normally, it's a mission impossible, right? So the trick or the secret of the mother when she was doing his duty, when she managed this big house, is 无我令人. When she made it the orders, when she managed all the things in this big family, she don't put her interest upon others. 无我. She don't feel or she don't count her own interest in when he managed something. So that's the ultimate way to settle down a conflict of interests, because the stakeholders she don't have an interest, right? So she gave all the interests to all other peoples. So how could you blame the stakeholders to blame this mother, right? So this is basically the first two paragraphs. It reveals different aspects of the passed away mother. She has 7 sons, so that's a great merit for a mother in those days. Have as many sons as she could. So she have and brought up 7 sons. That's a great achievement for a mother. That's the first thing first. And that's why in the first paragraph, the poet said, my mother was so busy and she has done such a hard job because she brought up 7 sons. And the second thing is the mother take care of this big family very well, and everybody like her because she never count her own interest when she managed something, when she was doing settle down some of the conflicts of the interests. So that's the thing. That's the first 2 paragraphs. Okay, the third paragraph. 睍有寒泉在浚之下. There is a cold spring, and something was very deep down there. So when we first read this sentence, it's quite confusing, right? But anyhow, we have some clue from the first two paragraphs. It's a condolence song to the mother from her sons, right? And we also have another term, 黄泉, the yellow spring. So normally when the Chinese read the term yellow spring, it always reminds us of the funeral, the tomb, because the tomb was at the level of the underground yellow springs. So here, it's a very strong implication that this poem was describing a sign of a funeral, as the tomb site is a big, deep hole and down to the level of the cold spring, and the coffin was laid down to that level. Her 7 sons and of course a lot of the people was surrounding this funeral site. And let's continue the next sentence. 有子七人，母氏劳苦. So the passed away mother, she has 7 sons, and they all crying out loud, maybe they just keeping silent, and they all felt their mother has spent such a busy and hard life, and she has done so many things, and she has left a great deal of her work, of her assets to her sons, to the 7 sons. The 4th paragraph. 睍睆黄鸟，载好其音. The oriole birds was singing pleasantly. So the word 睍睆, the general explanation is that these 2 characters means the bird was singing some way. Actually, we're not quite sure which way. But the next sentence explained the sound, 载好其音. The birds was singing some pleasant sound. But anyhow, from the characters, from the radicals, 睍睆was with the radicals of eyes. So in my personal believing, these 2 characters very likely refers the appearance, the outlook of the oriole birds, especially its eyes. But anyhow, today, nobody knows what exactly it means. So it's just describing the oriole birds is in a good way. So it's a contrast. And here the oriole birds represents the 7 sons and the people in this funeral. And the Chinese funeral, they have band. Even till today, they have band. So the band will play some pleasant music in some circumstances. Especially, it's a good death. A good death means the dead passed away in a very, very old age. That's the first thing first. And he or she is a good man, a good woman, which was taken, right? So normally it's two things. Died in a very old age, and a good man or good woman. So when they died, the band will play the very pleasant music, and maybe someone will sing a song, just like the oriole birds. It's hard to tell the oriole birds represents the music played on site, or it represents the seven sons was singing the songs for her mother in a pleasant way. It's hard to tell. The last sentence, 有子七人，莫慰母心. The mother has 7 sons, and not a one does not comfort the mother's heart, which means the 7 sons, they are all brilliant. They are all nice, good, capable men. And that's the biggest wish of the mother. And finally, these 7 sons comfort the heart of the mother. So this is a very typical condolence songs. Okay, that's for today, and bye-bye.